Srimad Bhagavatam program where we read prayers of pure devotees. The current theme is prayers of Akrura. Akrura when he is going to Vrindavan to take Krishna to Mathura. These are very beautiful prayers from Canto 10, Chapter 40, from verse 1 to 30. Today we have two wonderful devotees presenting the prayers and their realizations. Today we have His Grace Radha Damodar Prabhu and Akhilesh presenting the verses and realizations. Hare Krishna Prabhu and
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Thank you for giving this opportunity. We would like to thank Satsara Prabhu, Jaisudha Mataji, Veena Mataji, and Prashant Prabhu for this opportunity. So we'll share our screen now. Just all right. Is the screen visible, right? To all of?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, so the part we are going to do is the prayers of Akrura, and it's from the Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 40th chapter. The whole prayer is from verse 1 to 30th, but we'll be covering the way we are going to cover is Akhilesh will cover some part of about how the arrival of Akrura to Vrindavan and the reason for that, his analysis, and then later I will read verse 1, the first verse of the prayer, and I'll give my realizations based on that. Okay, so we'll move. Before we start, Bhagavatam will offer prayers. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tado jayam udirhed nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata seveya bhagavade uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtagi Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmitam Mena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangun Lange Degirim Yat Kripatam Hamde Sri Gunam Dinatarina Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Namo Pankajanabhaya Namo Pankajamalini Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankaja Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, as mentioned, Akhilesh will first give introduction about Akrura, and then I will read one of the prayers.
So I'm diving into this topic on Akrura. I decided to more focus on who is Akrura. So Akrura is a minister of Kamsa. So when after sending many demons to attack Krishna, Lord Kamsa decides instead of going to Vrindavan, he decides to trick Krishna and to send him to Mathura. And because of that, he chose Akrura. And he chose Akrura because of his good qualities and his kindness. In fact, it's in his name. Akrura means not cruel, and in other words, kind. And Akrura, being a devotee of Krishna, he also kind of represents how we should be, and he provides us to be a good role model of how to be a good devotee of Krishna. And one reason why Akrura could approach the Supreme Lord is because he was a pure devotee. And being a pure devotee of Krishna, as Prabhupada said many times, Krishna is moved by his purest devotees, and only someone like Akrura could be able to convince Krishna to go to Vrindavan, and for that reason. And anyway, yeah. Well, so when focusing more on the story of Akrura, I kind of parallel them to Kamsa in a way, and how it is. So right here, this is Kamsa a picture of Kamsa ordering Akrura. He goes in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 36, text 9, text 29. Gentle Akrura, you always carry out your duties soberly. Therefore, I am dependent on you. Just as powerful as Lord Vishnu to achieve his goal. Sorry. And one thing I find fascinating about Kamsa in a way is his level of ego in a way, and his level of like misery he has. He even says in canto in the same canto, my elder relative Janarshanta and my dear friend Divya are well sought wishers of mine, and as Sambara, Naraka, and Baksa, I will use them to kill off those kings or allied with demigods that will rule the earth. He does this. I like these verses, and why I include them is like it kind of shows the mind of Kamsa and his like demoniac. We like talk about the demoniac nature of Kamsa, but we never like hear it. And that's why I tried to include it, his very verse. And you can see that Kamsa has a mind of a dictator, and it shows how a mind of a dictator will never be happy in a way, or at all, and he'll always be in misery. And Prabhupada explains in Canto 10 and chapter 36 that Kamsa will name a bunch of enemies, like I will kill these people, I'll kill those people, and in Canto 6. And and the truth is, he said he wants to erase the thorns of him so he could be happy. In a way, he does all of this to achieve happiness, in a way. But the reality is, he will never find happiness, in a way. Happiness at all. And Akrura actually tries to warn Kamsa, like, and he tries to warn him to get out. Don't. This will not help you, in a way. And what I liked about that so much, it just shows how kind Akrura. Like he is willing to like forgive Kamsa. He's willing to like actually help Kamsa, and that just shows like the quality that the voice should have. In the real world, there'll be a lot of evil people and like dictators or like evil people or like people who will come in bad faith. We need to be charitable. We always have to come open-minded, or so we could only because when we'll talk about we keep an open mind, only then people will willing to hear us, willing to change our mind, and that will not be easy, but that is the correct mode of a devotee, and Akrura shows this in a way, and through his kindness, and that is one aspect of Akrura we as devotees should take. Yeah. And after warning Kamsa, he decides to come to Vrindavan. One thing I really like is that he's very chariot. He chooses a new chariot for just to pick up Krishna because he didn't want a chariot of someone evil as Kamsa. And it just shows his level of care and attention to detail. That he chose a very new chariot, just not touched by Kamsa, not touched by anyone, a nice chariot, just to pick up Krishna and vow. And why I chose this quote, then I will once alight from the chariot and bow down to the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, Supreme Personality of the Godhead. These are the same feet that great mystic yogis striving for self-realization bear within their mind. I will also offer my obeisance to the Lord's coward's boyfriends and all the other residents of Vrindavan. And the reason why I chose this is Akrura's care of everyone. Like he cares about the people of Vrindavan. He cares not only just for Krishna, he cares for the devotees of Vrindavan. He doesn't want them to suffer, or like he doesn't want them to feel any pain. And those qualities of Akrura, I feel we should take, and things we can learn from him.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Akhilesh. So as Akhilesh mentioned, we Akrura is coming to receive Krishna and Balram, and the mood in which they're coming is of a great devotee. So that's a wonderful mood. And now we will talk about the prayers that Akrura is offering to the Lord. And I've chosen just one verse, and if time permits, I may go to the next verse as well. But I'll try to give my understandings based on Sri Prabhupada's purport in various places, and we'll dissect this verse in a different way. So I'll offer my prayer first of all on this one. Let's read the verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Akrura Uvacha. Nato asmi aham tva akhila hetu hetum narayanam purusham adyam avyayam yan nabhi jatat aravinda koshat brahma virasit yat eka lokaha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sri Akrura said, I bow down to you, the cause of all causes, the original and inexhaustible Supreme Person, Narayana. From the whole of the world, a lotus born from your navel, Brahma appeared, and by his agency, this universe has come into being. So there is no purport by Srila Prabhupada, but what I try to dissect this verse and try to understand everything from various purports of Srila Prabhupada. So whatever my understanding, I'm going to share here. So first of all, glorifying Krishna, glorification of the Lord. So that is the first part. So here, we as ordinary person, we cannot just glorify the Supreme Lord with our limited understanding. Only we have to hear the glorification of the Lord from a pure devotee, and we need to follow their path because they have certain realization. The pure devotees have got far better realization than sadhakas like us. They are when we hear their glorification, if we just repeat that even if we don't understand the meaning fully, why they are saying this way, that's still okay. But that's already highly qualified glorification. So here the prayers are, if you see Srimad Bhagavatam, it's filled with the prayers of various devotees. These prayers offers us various opportunity to offer prayers in different moods. So that's why we have a lot of prayers throughout the Bhagavatam. So here in this situation, we have Akrura, a pure devotee of Lord, is offering prayers. So in the first verse, Akrura is saying, I bow down to you. So that is the way we first, before we start any prayers, we first bow down in front of the Supreme Lord. Then Krishna says, is the next part is the cause of all causes. So I just wanted to go a little more deeper into that cause of all causes. So that is in Brahma Samhita it said Sarva Karana Karanam. Now, as a devotee, we might think, okay, yeah, we understand it's Sarva Karana Karanam, so we just accept it and we take it for granted. But the world outside is not like that. So we see many philosophers who flatly deny this, right? So they deny all kinds of dualities, and many of them say that I myself is responsible for my personal happiness and distress, nobody else. Okay, and then there are some other people say that there are some superhuman powers are responsible for it. That is some other philosophers thinking. And then there are others who think that our own activity is the cause of all the problems. Okay, and then there are gross materialists. They say that nature is the ultimate cause of all this thing. So these are a few different types of people who thinks. This is the challenge we would face when we talk to people outside, when we go for book distribution, etc. We are going to encounter such people who are of the believers of this sort of philosophy. Now, then there are some people, a little more knowledgeable people. They'll say the fruitive activity is the root cause of all distress and happiness, and that even if there is a superior authority, that such as God, or some people believe in God, but they don't know who is God, and they say even they are under the influence of karma, fruitive activities. They also go through the result of their actions. So you can see that some people say Krishna also went through all kinds of sufferings because of his karma. There are people who talks like that as well, right? Even so, they don't. That's the lack of knowledge they have about the Supreme Lord. So then. And these people also say that that action is not independent because the action is performed by some performer. Therefore, the performer himself is the cause of his own happiness and distress. This is another philosophy people give. So the performer is the actual cause of his own happiness and distress. That's because the action is not independent. Whatever actions we do, that's are performed by the performer. That's another kind of philosophy people talk. But we know from Bhagavad Gita that one's own mind, freed from material action, affection, and then one can deliver from the sufferings of the past, from this material sufferings. So we know that it's a mind. If we are freed from the material entanglement, affections, things like that, so then we have no suffering. So that is a real knowledge, right? So so that way one's own mind is sometimes a friend or sometimes as an enemy. So in this material world, for their happiness and distresses. So mind is the true cause of happiness and distress. And so there are other more advanced materialistics like Sankhyas. They will say that material nature is the cause of all causes, and according to them, a combination of material elements are the cause of material happiness and distress. And when they disintegrate, they are in the disintegration of the matter is caused by the freedom of this. Then we are out of this material punks. So that is their philosophy. Then there are other philosophers like Gautama and Canada. They say is that atomic combination is the cause of all, cause of everything. And then there are impersonalists. They say that spiritual effulgence from Brahman is the cause of all causes. So we can see everybody is thinking differently. What is the cause of all these causes, right? But then we know in Bhagavad Gita, Lord himself declares that he is the source of impersonal Brahman, and therefore he is the personality of Godhead, and he is the ultimate cause of. So we know that Brahma itself is also created by the Supreme Lord. So obviously we know in Brahma Samhita it is very clearly confirmed that Lord is the ultimate Sarva Karana Karana. So that fact is established by these theories. And we also can see that in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, will say that is the Chatusloki sloga, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava Matha Sarvam Pravartade, Idi Matto Bhajate Ma Buddha Bhavasandhita. So, very clearly, Krishna himself states that I am the cause of all the causes here. So, Srila Prabhupada says that only an ignorant person can pose these various different theories. So, that is the first part of this verse. So, Akrura is praising Lord as the Sarva Karana Karana. The next part says he is the original and inexhaustible Supreme Person Narayana. So, we know from Bhagavad Gita itself that Mahatmas, the famous verse is Mahatmanastu Mampartha Devim Pragati Asrita Bhajanti Ananya Manaso Nyatva Bhutam Abhyayam. So here Krishna says that the Mahatmas, the great souls, they are fully engaged in devotional service because they know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original and inexhaustible. That's why to understand that position, when one comes to the Mahatma stages, then they are fully convinced that he is the original and cause, and he is the inexhaustible person. So, since Lord descended for the benefit of mankind in general, basically, why would anybody neglect him, right? We just need to love Krishna. But even though the Lord is actually awarding all the benefits to the pure devotees, he's actually avyaya, that's the word uses here, is inexhaustible. And is immeasurable also, because aprameya is the other word used. Is inexhaustible as well. Now, the Lord is basically inexhaustible because he can expand. He can have innumerable expansions, and various incarnations can come out of him, but he still remains the same. So he's this person. Lord is the inexhaustible. Is the characteristics of the Lord. So this is very difficult for ordinary people, living beings to understand, because normally we take some a bunch of from the say a bunch of apple from a bag. When we take one out, it becomes empty eventually. But Lord is not like that. He can expand in various incarnations, but he still remains the same. So that's the second point we have. Then the third point is that the third point here is the Lord is born from your navel. Brahma appeared, and the Lord is born from your navel, and there Brahma appeared, and by his agency the universe has come into being. So this is the next point. These are the various points we can always think in our mind as a part of prayers when we also offer the Lord the prayers. So at some point of time, the personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu, that's Karanodakshaya Vishnu, lays in the Karana ocean and produces thousands of universes from his breathing. And he himself enters into each and every universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and fills half of the universe with his own respiration. Then the other half of the universe remains vacant, actually. And the vacant region is called the outer space. And there's a lotus flower that sprouts from the abdomen and produces the first living creature, Brahma. So he is the first living being in that universe. But again, the creation is coming from the Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the creator of Brahma. So even though, so sometimes we might think, okay, Brahma is the creator of everything. Then, but actually, Brahma comes from Vishnu, so he cannot be the creator. He is only a secondary creator. Then there is Kshirodaksha Vishnu, or he then again enters into the heart of every living entity as Kshirodaksha Vishnu, including that of Brahma. And so we know very clearly that in Bhagavad Gita, I am seated in everyone's heart. And from me comes remembrance and forgetfulness. That verse in the 15th chapter is there. So that confirms that part of the theory. As Brahma was the first living entity and is empowered by the Supreme Lord to act and in charge of in the mode of passion, he has to start creating various living entities. And this picture also explains many of those, the creation, how it happens. As you can see here, this is the lotus coming from its navel, and various planets are created here, and whole universe is then eventually filled with living entities that were actually sleeping in the body of Mahavishnu. The related verses, the next verse is also slightly related. So I'm just reading the translation alone here. Earth, water, fire, ether, and sources and false ego, Mahatattva, the total material nature, and others, and her sources, the Purusha expansions, the mind, the senses, and senses of presiding and deciding. All of these causes the cosmic manifestation to happen from the transcendental body of the Lord. So Lord can be, when we construct a house, we need raw materials. Those raw materials are eventually, if you think about it, they're all coming from the earth itself. So from the universe itself. So these, like that is our body is also created from various elements. And so we are praising the Supreme Lord for providing all these ingredients. We are the occupier of this body, material creations. We are not this body, but our body is also made up of all these things. So we are being given this body. We are taken as a lease from the Supreme Lord. So we are praying to Supreme Lord that for giving us this body to carry out services. So our ultimate objective is by praying like this, we are realizing our own position compared to the inferior position that we have compared to the Supreme Lord. So that's all we wanted to say. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Back to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That was such a fantastic class. Thank you, Akhilesh. Very, very nicely. You explained why Akrura is coming to Vrindavan and what is the mode. He's in the mode of a true devotee who is, despite being with Kamsa, he's thinking of the well-being of Supreme Lord. And the example, and the way you related, saying how Akrura got a new chariot, and he, with that chariot, it shows his care and attention to detail, and he wanted to make sure that Kamsa doesn't touch that chariot, and Supreme Lord is the first one being there. So very nicely you shared your realizations. And Prabhu, that was such an amazing explanation of the verse. I know there are no purports for majority don't have purports for these prayers, but you so beautifully explained and did the research. And you explained how first he bows down, what's the significance of the prayers, and how Akrura bows down first, and then explained the causes. I really liked how you gave the different philosophies which exist for the causes. and the references from the Shastras of what cause really means, that could really understand. And the other point is that how Lord is inexhaustible. No matter there's infinite expansions, but still Lord is still the same. He's indiminish,able, and that's something very, very powerful point. And then you explained, touched upon how Brahma is born, how he's appeared, and the entire universe creation, and finally how the living entity is related. So very nicely explained. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Akhilesh. That was a wonderful class.
Right.
Hare Krishna. Devotees, thank you all for joining the BhagavatSanga program. Quick reminder, we have a program starting from Saturday. We have Prabhupada Priya Mataji, then Father's Day, Sankarshan Prabhu and Sankarshan Maharaj. Then we have Vrindavan Prabhu coming on Monday and Tuesday. So we have a weekend full of bliss and nectar of Krishna Katha. Please join. With that, we'll conclude the program today. Hare Krishna.
Hare